Hi there. And nobody reacts. What's happening here?
Hi. Oh,
Hi. It's my first
I
time.
almost forgot you were here.
It's
Yeah.
my first time.
Hello, everybody. Just a few minutes ago, we had like 8 viewers waiting for our stream to start, and when we are late for 1 minute, there are only 3 viewers now. What's happening there? That's really strange. But that's on YouTube. There are more people on Facebook, and I hope there will be some more people joining us in a moment. We'll see. Never mind. We do it for fun firstly, and then for our viewers who know that. So this is bookbindings live stream, and today we have a new guest. It's Friedrich Sommerfeld, and he's one of the members of iBookBindings team. I guess nobody almost never saw before. Maybe only if on Discord channel when you post some news or something like that. But Friedrich does a lot for our news posts on Facebook and on Discord. So and also he's sort of our research team or research department. at least in some cases we've used his help during our podcast or live stream dedicated to Dune movie, and Friedrich got some really nice details about one of the books in that movie, and about some other objects as well. So nice to have you here. I hope this is not the last time.
Same. And I'm glad being here now for the first time. And like back with the Dune stuff, it was fun time researching, especially this one book. And I was glad that I could find almost the exact copy. And now doing research for the Rings of Power show, I was also thrilled.
Perfect. And Pavel, my co-host, as usual, he joins us from Bulgaria. Oh, I forgot to ask from where Friedrich joins us. From Germany, from somewhere in Germany.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm studying in Halle, which is in Saxony-Anhalt, but I live basically next door in Leipzig in Saxony.
Okay.
So yeah, that's where I live since May this year. And in Halle, I study book arts. And before that, I did an apprenticeship in Berlin, my hometown, as a bookbinder.
Okay.
So that's my background.
Perfect. Well, Pavel, hi. Nice to have you here. You are settled for at least a couple of months, I guess. So we'll see you more from this location in the future. Probably.
Yeah, I'm almost used to this background by now.
Grown into it.
My new green friends, yeah.
I'm Stepan. I'm joining from Versailles, from France, and this at least part of the stream will be dedicated to different bookish objects from the Rings of Power series that are streaming now on Amazon Prime. Anywhere.
Amazon Prime. Yeah. I also get it mixed up.
Yes, too many streaming services nowadays. And as I mentioned, maybe Pavel will find a link to our YouTube channel to our discussion of the Dune movie, because I think it was a great discussion, and we had a lot of fun talking about the bookish objects from there, and we had some interesting finds as well, also with Friedrich's help. And we have plans for I forgot the name. War of Dragons, the new Game of Thrones series.
The House of Dragons.
House of Dragons. Yeah.
I
also
of the Dragon.
anyway, new Game of Thrones prequel. I also have some ideas about what to talk in the future, and if our viewers have any advice on which movies or series or TV shows to discuss on our stream or on our podcast in the future, please leave comments in the comment section I also wanted to talk, for example, about Battlestar Galactica, and one of the reasons for that was that they have a pretty non-standard shape of books and paper leaves in the series. They are not square, they are not rectangular, but they are octagonal. Yeah, so they have 8 edges, which is strange, and I wanted to just to dive
Which
into
show?
this mythology. But Battlestar Galactica, yeah, it's sci-fi future, alternative future,
Yeah.
and at least in the remake, I'm not sure about the. Also,
Well, there are octagonal books in European traditions.
Yes. Let's save it for the future. Also, we already have some comments on Facebook and YouTube. Please tell us from where you join us. We're always happy to see people from different places, and we sort of collect regions and continents and countries. That's a great pleasure for us. And we'll start, and I will read some of the comments a bit later. So. Oh, I need to share the screen, probably. Sorry, I lost it for one moment. Pavel, Friedrich, would you talk a bit, and I will prepare
So for some context for those of our viewers who don't know, Friedrich, what is it we are discussing?
Should I say something?
Yeah. Do say.
Well, so we will discuss the Rings of Power show, and like maybe just straight up ahead, there aren't many what we would consider standard books in this show. There will be basically just one, and most of it are scrolls or just single sheets of paper, and but still, that's, in my opinion, actually a pretty great and neat thing, because usually when something has a medieval setting, you just get to see a bunch of books, pretty standard, but this time around a lot of scrolls, and I think that's pretty rare and a nice change of pace.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. A lot of scrolls. That's an interesting change, because in Game of Thrones, for example, we didn't have a podcast episode or stream dedicated to Game of Thrones, but we have a series of posts on our website, and I guess I'll share them in a moment in the link in the comment section. And there are lots of codex formats books, and there are some scrolls there as well, but they're mostly letters or something like that. And here they decided to take a different path, and that's an interesting thing. And there are lots of forms and shapes of these scrolls and decorations, and that's also something we are going to discuss today, I guess. But the series literally begins not with a book, but with a bookish, with a paper object or something. So, Friedrich, take the reign.
Yeah, so that was a, first of all, totally great thing to start the show with this, in my opinion. It's a little origami structure that the young Galadriel makes at the beginning of the show in the first episode. And after basically talking a spell onto it, it folds into this swan-like shape, which is a reference to her first appearance in The Lord of the Rings, where she appears on a swan boat. So here we have a origami swan boat, and later, chronologically speaking, later in the movies, she appears first time on a swan boat. And also, since in our world, paper is a rather late invention, especially something that came to Europe rather late, and a lot of the Rings, the aesthetic is pretty much based on medieval Europe, at least in a large degree. It's kind of weird, but also exciting to see paper as a material that was there right from the beginning. The same with the clothing. I mean, that's also something that has to be handmade. Maybe there's some magic involved. I don't know the lore on that. But yeah, that's a nice change. Instead of parchment, to see paper in this position.
We should probably mention that obviously there is absolutely no way to derive to create any history of materials or history of book formats from fictional series of that sort, and we're not trying to do that here. We're just trying to find all the bookish objects that are shown in the show and sort of marvel at the way the prop workers, prop designers did their job, and how they try to integrate these formats and these objects into this world. So that's a bit different work. And we also are not going to review the show itself and how it really connects to the original lore and how it's canon or non-canon. So that's something completely out of scope for us. Yeah, I should probably say I'm definitely not an expert on Tolkien lore. I'm a fan of Lord of the Rings, but I never almost didn't read anything else. Obviously, Hobbit, but almost nothing else. I lost my thought. But
this show isn't based on either Hobbit or Lord of the Rings. It's based on Silmarillion.
It's based
Children of Kurin.
No,
right?
It's not based on Silmarillion. They didn't have rights to Silmarillion, so it's based on some quotes from Lord of the Rings and some
appendices.
And appendices. So it's a really strange material, and but what I heard from some of the commenters and some of the people who reviewed the show, people who know about the lore of the world of the Lord of the Rings, is the fact that the creators of the show definitely try to make connections with the movies and with the books of the Lord of the Rings, in my opinion, they did it quite well. As Friedrich already mentioned, the shape of these ship and Galadriel and her future fate, and there are some moments in the future episodes as well. So yeah, but anyway, the first scene is pretty dramatic right from the start, because the ship is destroyed by some nasty elvish children. And then Galadriel has a discussion with her brother. So I also wanted to give it a mention. It's not a bookish object in any way, but that's something that appears in the show from time to time. When they move from location to location, they show this map, which is obviously 3D designed. It's not a practical object, but still, I was quite impressed by they almost were able to give the feeling of a tooled leather hide. There is some blind tooling, there is some gold tooling, there are some colors there, and it doesn't look real, but it reminds it quite a lot. And so every time they show the map of the Middle Earth of Arda, I was quite happy to see every detail of the designer's work. Friedrich Weivel, anything to say about this?
I particularly like the texture of the leather. You can almost touch it. It's very tactile.
Okay.
Same goes for me.
Yeah. Bits of gruesome details as well. I was thinking about whether to put this screenshot on screen, but that's a mark left on the body of brother of Galadriel. Okay, I already forgot his name. That's not good of me. I have it. Finrod.
Sorry, spoilers, but this
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Probably
this
there
is
will be
not
some
a
spoilers
symbol.
here.
It's like in the first couple
Well,
of minutes. That's like not really a spoiler. That's the intro. I
It's-
think that's fair game.
It's still a symbol. Anyway,
Yes, it's a symbol.
it symbolizes something, and it's anyway. And if it's a spoiler, if things on map also are symbols or collection symbols. So anyway, symbol. But well, yeah, it's a symbol on height, even if it's a if it was a person at some moment. So a bit of gruesome details here, but Friedrich, we will need your help here.
This map, first from the looks of it, it looks like also made of paper, I think, and in the the center where the knife or sword points to, it's like a fortress or so, which is not really in a too much stylized way depicted here, but pretty much almost naturalistic rendering of the location that we will see in a couple of minutes in the show there. So that was interesting to me, because usually you have like, okay, there's a fortress and it's like almost childish to a degree when it's put on such a map. But underneath and on different points, we have some writing, which doesn't appear to me to be the common writing we see in Lord of the Rings, which is the writing of the elves. The alphabet is called Tengwa, but rather Kurth, which is the writing of the dwarves. At this point in the show, I didn't really get the feeling. It's also like in the first couple of minutes, so no real spoiler there. But it didn't, like, it seems like the source of this map lies with the dwarves, in my estimation, or someone who knows how to write the dwarven language. But it's hard to decipher. Also because I'm not too familiar with the writing systems of Tolkien. It did all the reading for this podcast. So yeah, but I was excited to see this.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention that definitely props department worked a lot on this project, and there are lots of times when you can definitely see paper objects there, but they're sort of stylized to look like vellum or like leather or something. So it's sometimes it's hard to distinguish what you are looking at and what they want you to look at. So it's an interesting process, and it was an interesting process to sort of decipher what's happening there.
By the way, this is one of the examples where my eye decided that this is not written in ink, that it does look printed out, and there are a few more examples like that. You can't see any texture, you can't see any slippage. It looks printed out, and we don't know. What do we think? Is there printing technology in Middle Earth?
Well, I guess dwarves may have had printing technology.
Maybe the dwarves.
In Numenor too. We'll look at those examples later. Those look definitely printed.
Yeah.
Well, just
firstly, I wanted to say that probably some people are joining here to hear about our museum experiences and the books found in Transylvania. The main topic of our today's live stream was the bookish objects of the Rings of Power. So we're starting with this, and then and especially as Friedrich has to leave us at some moment, and then we will continue with other topics. So that's for our audience, and I'll read a couple of comments, and we will move forward. Ucenicul Dani, hello from Cluj-Napoca, Transylvania, Romania. Hi there. I've been to Cluj-Napoca. I think a couple of times. It's a really nice town. Jennifer Uthoff, hello from Texas. I can't read Greek, sorry. Stefanos Evangelicus.
Shame on you.
Hello from Athens, Greece. Well, I almost read it. Evangelides. Sorry. I lost the last part of the David Hennington. Hi from David Hennington in Ottawa, Canada. I joined this group yesterday. Hi, David. Thanks for joining. Mindel Dubansky, hi from Tivoli, New York, stuck at home with COVID. You are already cheering me up. Thank you. Oh, sorry to hear that, Mindel. Hope you get well soon. Jocelyn Bergen, greetings and thanks from Kingston, New York. And then what else?
And also on YouTube.
Also on YouTube. Carla,
Hello from California, from Collagen. Hi, Carla. Then there is Nods Book Arts Festival. Hi, guys. Hello from Nottingham. There's also hi from Copenhagen, from Montoya Free. That's a new one for us.
Yeah.
And Real LWD, our regular. Hello from Lancaster, UK. Hi. And this is it. Oh no, there's also Kipling's Photography. Hello from France. Galerie, Iowa, USA, and Anne Ingrid Hellig from Quebec, Montreal. Hi everyone. So nice to see people from such a wide geography.
Bonsoir, Kipling Photography. And also from Notes Book Arts Festival, home is calling. I lived in Berlin and Leipzig for a while, so that's for Friedrich. So if you have any questions, please post them. If you have any recommendation, as I mentioned, what shows, what movies to talk about during some of our future live streams, please also leave a comment. Cindy Pieropan on Facebook, hello from Colorado. So we have a lot of people today. Hope we'll have a fine discussion here. So what's next? That's once again one of the maps. Also pretty stunning details and almost leathery feel. I was impressed with this 3D design. And then we switch to the book of
the Harfoots.
Harfoots. Yeah, I always forget that name. Sorry, I'm so used to hobbits that I forget about the Harfoots. And we should probably mention that Har in many Germanic languages is the word for, or the root for hair, I guess. Yeah, so it's obviously hair feet there. And I wanted to say a couple of words about this book. This is sort of a collection of legends, of prophecies, or knowledge of these Harfoots. And in the beginning, Friedrich and I were discussing what's the style of binding of this book. And the first idea was that it was some sort of Coptic binding or something like that, because it's definitely stitched. But then I looked at some close-ups, and here it is, and you can probably see that it is a step binding, or maybe a screw post binding, because there is this. If you can see the mouse scroll, there is this crease over here, and the book folds. The book cover folds quite a lot following this crease, and the crease is followed throughout the pages over there inside. So I guess that's one of the situations when the prop department decided just to, how you call it, something rig a book, or I forgot the English word. So quick and dirty book binding. And
which sounds appropriate for the situation. I mean,
for Harfoot, it's just perfect, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, also, like, in a sense, I guess this would make sense because, like, a binding technique like this, in the context of how the book probably was or grew over time,
Yeah.
when more and more was added.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can unbind it
later in
pretty
the-
fast. Yeah.
Yeah, you can unbind it and enter new stuff into it pretty quickly, rather than if you had like Coptic binding or so, where you would have to re-sew layer after layer after layer, and there you can add single sheets at any time. And yeah, I think to me that's the most bookish object, like in a codex form,
Yeah.
that we got in this show.
It's now we return to this eternal question we have been discussing on our podcast almost since the beginning. What is a book? Is a scroll a book? Is a clay tablet a book? And so on. And
Yeah, that will be a question always.
our viewers can leave their answers in the comments.
What is a book?
We have a plenty of answers on our podcast from different bookbinders, book artists, and book sculptors. And I also spent some time trying to look at the cover, and my initial thought was that it's some sort of wood carving or something, but there are future at later moment in the show, in the third episode or something like that, so we can see a better close up, and I'll show it in a moment, because I decided to cram together all the appearances of the book at the same time, and where it is. So yeah, that's how it looks from the inside, and that's another moment when it seems to me they wanted to give it this almost leathery look, but it's obviously paper, and you'll see why I'm sure that it's paper later. But even from these screenshots, you can probably see that it's paper, but still it's colored, it's crumpled in a way to have these how you call it, прожилки. Pavel, help me. Veins, crease lines that you often see in leathers. I'm not sure what's the language. Did you
Well,
find
so
any?
that's a writing system invented for the show. The information given via, there's like this X-ray function on Amazon Prime or Prime Video, and you get the info on the language of the Harfoots that it's a pictograph-based language or writing system. And one user on Reddit, I don't have the name right now up my sleeve, but he collected all the signs at the beginning, before the show even started, like when just promo material was public. And he already had the suspicion that it would be a pictograph-based language. And here we can see something that's a clear depiction of events maybe being allured to, like prophesized,
yeah, I guess.
Basically prophesized. And but we also, if you can go to the image before that again,
yeah,
because one of my theories is that it has a lot of later on star constellations, and here we see different shapes of the sun, basically, which in my idea would be that because they're a wandering folk, they have to keep a keen eye on the sun and the sky, the weather. So these are basically, I guess, different states of the sun, maybe a blazing hot sun, maybe a really bright sun, or a more clouded sun, and which gives them insights into the seasons and their way of traveling through their parts of Middle Earth. Yeah.
I wanted to mention one of the comments because I've seen it for a bit, and then it was lost or deleted or something. Somebody commented that we should probably discuss the book from the Evil Dead series, which is a fun idea. I like it. I like it quite a lot. There is this that there is a central book, demonic something there, and it's really strange. We can probably take some demonic books from different series and talk about the bindings and about some details, and that may be fun for Halloween or something. Maybe too late this year, maybe next year. We'll see. So, what else do we have on the Book of Harfoot? Yeah, some more constellations or something, as you mentioned, Friedrich. And then
I really like how they write in all sorts of directions.
Yeah.
And also you can see how either words or more likely sentences are united by a line, and the line could be either below the pictograms or above. So it's all over the place. It's like they coming up with the system as they go.
Maybe.
Like
I think that was also the theory of the person who only had the promo material at hand, that the line is above and underneath is the text. You can see that oftentimes with like this tree-shaped form, like this line and two or more diagonal lines meeting the straight line. And oftentimes those are switched around, but here are some examples where it's the other way around. So it's not really clear. Well, but I like the messiness of it.
It indicates whether we should read the symbols as upside down or yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, I can see that. The tree in this very image, you can see on the left, the tree goes up, and on the right, the tree goes down, where the line is above the text.
We should definitely find some connection with people who created all this writing for the series, and invite them on our live stream in the future. If anyone can help us with that, that would be really nice.
I wanted to check that out, but usually the credits of the show just skipped to show me the next episode, and I didn't really mention to watch the whole credits to find the names of the people who did that. Or like to have like a starting point, like maybe I could ask someone and they could refer me to someone else, and it was like, okay, I'll have to manage maybe for the next time we talk about this show.
What do you think the cover of the book is made of? Because that's not obvious.
So Journal My Life on YouTube commented the distressed veined pages might result if one were to add the pages over time. Pages folded or rolled and stuffed in trunks, bags prior to binding in a compiled a book such as the step binding. Yeah, definitely. That's why I told you that I changed my opinion that it's probably not a woodcut or something like that, but it seems to be a piece of leather pasted over something, and probably it's on lace on leather as well. So the pattern, the design is created by onlays of more leather of this color, but maybe underneath the leather there is wooden boards to create these bright strokes that could have been made with a chisel or something like that. So yeah, that was my thought.
You're probably right. So we can see that's where we can see the board.
Yeah,
that is underneath the cover. Yeah.
And some more pages, and then this happens. So here you can definitely see it's paper burning.
Yeah,
There is just
leather wouldn't do
leather.
it that way.
Yeah, leather or vellum would burn absolutely differently. And the color of the flame would be different, and yeah, everything. So here it is. One of the pages lost. Sorry. And we jump forward a bit and to another location, and this is Elrond writing some poetry. I guess
Poetry or a speech. Like maybe that was one part where they got like this poetic style of Tolkien, right? Because what Tolkien like was murmuring to not Tolkien, Elrond was murmuring to himself sounded like a poem to me.
Okay.
But when I did some research on this part of the episode, everybody said like he was writing a speech. So maybe like just giving a speech has a lot of poetry in it in the realm of the elves.
Oh, and then this lady comes and
Tolkien.
tells him that he cannot attend some high meeting
some
or something.
meeting.
Maybe he was writing his speech for this meeting. That's interesting. But
don't you find it funny that he writes with an actual feather? I mean, who does that?
I like the detail that his fingers are covered with ink.
Yeah, that is nice.
Because
although how he managed to keep the what is he writing on?
That's a good question.
How is
that's paper?
vellum?
Yeah, that's paper.
That's paper.
That's definitely paper.
How is it so clean then? I mean, if his fingers are dirty, how does he keep the paper clean?
That's a very good question. And why elf has a dirty fingers then? But still, in many shows, you see people writing with feathers, and they have squeaky clean fingers, and that's sometimes it's a bit strange. And about the paper,
what I wanted to say about the feather, I mean, the quill. When you write with the quill, from what I understand, you clip the outer part. You don't leave the actual feather. You just use the tip. And here in the next frame, he basically looks like a romantic vision of Alexander Pushkin. I mean, writing love poems to his hundreds of girlfriends.
About the paper, by the way, I think about the material. Why we think it's paper? I think you can see this rectangular shape of a mesh. So it seems like a wallpaper. So it seems to be a handmade paper here in this shot. So once again, thanks to the props department, nice work. And he's writing on something. So it's just sheets of paper. It's not a book. It's not a notepad. Nothing like that. Just some sheets of paper. What else? The same symbol. Another sheet of paper. Now in hands of Galadriel. Just wanted to show it and to mention it here. Nothing really special. Maybe Friedrich would say something about the script, but other than that.
Yeah, the script is basically the common writing system for Tengwa. More like a little bit loopy, like more loops at the end of some letters. But other than that, I mean, probably I could do more research and go into detail, maybe say like, oh, well, that's saying this. And it's, I guess or was it like, I don't know, some parts of the show or some texts in the show are written in Quenya, I think it's called. That's one of the Elvish languages, but other texts are just transcribed English into a writing system.
Oh, so like in Star Wars, when Arabic is just
yeah. I mean, it's at times it's a little bit different because like this Tengwa alphabet works a lot different than our alphabets. Like alphabets really just like either Latin or Cyrillic. It works pretty different. But yeah, some people put in the time and work to translate almost everything, a single piece of writing in the show. They did a great work there. To me, it was more interesting to look at how the letters developed over time, probably, just to give it some extra value, that was some insight from my perspective that maybe those people don't have.
And to me, it was also interesting to see how they use a higher and lower quality of calligraphy in different contexts. Like in the previous image, what we saw was clearly the highest and most refined form, and this was written in a hurry. You see the lines are not as straight, letter shapes are not as regular, but still they tried. And later on, we see even more corroded versions of that.
Yeah, maybe. To step back to our discussion of the Book of Harfoot's Ученик Дани, for me, the cover it seemed to be from copper, made from copper, maybe, but I think the wood works better with Harfoot. Somehow it feels to me this way.
Yeah, but I also had like this copper idea, like this, just like really looked like metal. Also, like on the edge, it appears to be rather thin and like as if shaped with a hammer or some other tool. But I cannot tell. Like it's not really making a clunk noise when it's opened, so it's hard to tell.
And then Carlo Jean, come on now, guys, don't be so cynical about the ink on the fingers. Love it, and the quill, exactly a romantic vision. Yeah, absolutely.
Are you saying we shouldn't take it too seriously?
That's Lord of the Rings, duh, and books.
Yeah, and then next we have Elrond. Coming to the study, I guess it is, of how he's called, Calendil, or I'm butchering the name, I guess, once again. No, Calendil. Why? Celebrimbor. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
too many names in a foreign language.
Yeah. Elendil is absolutely different character. We'll see later. Yeah, Celebrimbor and Elrond in Celebrimbor's study, and there are lots of drafts there. And I think Pavel wanted to say a couple of words about the storage system there.
Not so much had things to say as things to ask. I mean, what was this even inspired by? Could you get to the previous one? I mean, yes. I mean, what is this even supposed to be? It reminds me somewhat how you certainly wouldn't store your paper like that. I mean, it's not even comfortable to use. He uses some kind of attachments to store them like that.
How you call
what would happen to paper if you keep it like that?
Well, it will crease, definitely.
Certainly would. And I've never seen anything like it. So what they based it on, and also the Gothic shapes. So there's probably some medieval inspiration behind this. But if anybody has seen anything like it, I would like to hear.
Yeah, I guess probably the first place to start is like architectural design studios. They often work on large sheets of paper, big plans, and maybe in this case it's like that he, as craftsman or also an artisan, just wants to see like his drafts all at once, like just like a mood board. And I mean, he's a visionary, he's a genius,
So
And
he only
the
needs halves of them, and sometimes upside down. Okay, okay, for a
maybe, who
visionary. Yeah.
knows? Who knows? And yeah, with the like the basically Gothic arcs, I think like these pointy arcs are also basically standard in the Elvish architecture of Tolkien. I don't know about his own drafts. I mean, he did a lot of drawings for his for the Lord of the Rings himself, so maybe that's like also a route for the inspiration there. But that's a thing or a style element that goes even beyond Tolkien's imagination into other fantasy worlds where like these pointy arcs are part of Elvish architecture, and also a
So
point where
pointy ears,
Tolkien made
pointy
the gold
arches
standard.
makes sense. Yeah.
I think they put later we see that again with the with some bookshelves. They put a lot of work into the backgrounds, and like what you wouldn't even think about, like, oh yeah, maybe they got that from a Gothic church or so, and it just landed there. So, but no, I think they made a lot of stuff, especially for the show. Yeah, here.
Talking about the bookshelves, yeah, and now we get to Elendil finally, the one that I mistakenly the name I remembered before. So it's Galadriel and Elendil, and that location is called the Hall of Laws or something like that, and it's on the island of Numenor. And there are lots and lots of bookish objects here. We start the scene seeing that symbol once again, which they are soon to decipher, and some manuscripts, some probably folders or books. Who knows?
I would say folders. Most of it are folders.
Yeah, we'll
Maybe
see.
those are limp bindings. No,
it seems to be folders because we later see another one, and we don't really see many codices, codex form books in this scene, in this archive. But yeah, and here's the storage system, which is interesting.
to say the least.
It's not flat shelves.
We discussed it a lot with Stepan. I actually have some context for this, which I'll talk about separately later. I couldn't find, just to say in advance, I couldn't find anything like it in real life. The only parallel Stepan came up with was wine racks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in depictions of usually scroll libraries, you have something similar to this, but also just straight shelves rather than like these curved forms.
Well,
also really interesting.
This shape of shelves works definitely in a way that scrolls, especially if they're in hard. I forgot the name for the hard cover of the hard cases, but there is some special name for it. Anyway, if they are in hard cases, they wouldn't roll on the shelf if they are placed on a they wouldn't roll. They would roll on a horizontal shelf, but they wouldn't on a shelf shaped like this. So that may be the reasoning, or I don't know what. And somebody decided that it would look more dramatic this way. And obviously, we get several shots from this archive when Galadriel is walking around. And Friedrich, do you want to say something about this symbol? Because we can see it on the shelves.
Yeah.
And
that's the Earendil, I think is the name. So that's the basically coat of arms or the heraldic symbol of Earendil, who is the father of Elrond and his twin brother, who was the founder of Numenor. And Earendil is also like he's talked about a lot in the show. So maybe spoilers, maybe not spoilers, but that's a symbol, and he's heavily linked to the founding of Numenor, which is like at the first time when I saw this sign on the shelves, I didn't think too much of it.
I didn't notice it at all. If you didn't tell me about it.
I saw it, but I thought like, yeah, okay, that's like some decoration there. But while doing my research, I came around a post where someone noticed this and said like, oh yeah, that must be like the stuff Eärendil, which makes perfect sense. Also, like there's a depiction of Eärendil, which can't be seen in the show. Only like in the show, they only make note of Elrond and his brother, but in the like backstage
Background.
no, like in the footage, the background footage, or not background,
Oh.
backstage
Behind the
footage,
scene?
basically. Yeah, behind the scenes footage. Yeah, that's the term. The behind the scenes footage, you can see the whole picture, and above is Eärendil and the star. So yeah, that's like not really seen in the show, but Eärendil plays a big role.
I think
Often gets
there is
mentioned.
this somewhere here. Yeah,
Yeah,
here it is.
that's the painting, and as I said, above you can see their father, Eärendil. And I thought that was a great detail.
Yeah.
And what do you think about those things on the ends of the scrolls? What did you say they were called? Crowns?
Crowns.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's why I
least
included
that's
this
what
image.
I found.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took this in Kronach city in Bavaria, and that's, I would say, basically a pine cone. And on the end of some of the scrolls, you can see a pine cone shape. The pine cone also has some significance in our real world culture. For example, in on some papal staffs, you have a small pine cone, and the pine cone has some connotation with eternal life or fertility. And I think like with a culture that is heavily based on Elvish culture, having like this pine cone shape, I also tried to find like some mention of pine cones in Tolkien's work, but only like there's a place called after pine trees, but not really pine cones mentioned themselves, other than in the was it Peter Jackson who made the Lord of the Rings movies and the Hobbit movies?
Yeah.
There's like the scene where Gandalf and the hobbits and dwarves blow hot air into some pine cones and throw them at some orcs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the only, and like in a video game, there's like some lore masters or so who throw burning pine cones because they're no magicians, but like pretend or so. And with these crowns in this show, we have a lot of variety. I think some, to me, also has like some almost oriental influences, which would make sense from our perspective on what we are maybe able to imagine, like in such a vastness of different styles. And most scrolls that we have in our world are like today are Hebrew scrolls, and aside from like Japanese scrolls and Chinese scrolls, but like which is more like Western. And I think that's maybe like you have some floral elements here which could be influenced like by maybe some Renaissance art or so. I couldn't really pinpoint it because I didn't find a big catalog of different styles. And also like at parts these frames are like rather blurry, so you can't get too much detail, but I really like the variety present here.
Yeah, there are a lot of types of decorations for these scrolls, and maybe we are reading just a bit too much into it. Maybe they just went to hardware store and bought all the end pieces for the for the curtains, for the
Maybe.
how do you call it? But at the end, they chosen these ones, and they thought that they will fit the style of Numenor the best. And it's always interesting to fantasize a bit about how it all can be real or how it can be created historically.
And actually, it's interesting you mentioned that you couldn't find any kind of catalog. Me neither. Certainly, there are some articles on crowns for Hebrew scrolls, but those are mostly 18th, 19th, and 20th century. So what could they possibly have taken for reference? Say, if they wanted to emulate ancient scrolls or medieval European, Western European scrolls, there are simply no preserved examples. Well, maybe one in Westminster. And I looked through dozens and dozens of depictions of scrolls in illuminated manuscripts, and they hardly ever include crowns. If they do, they are simple wooden rods or maybe like a sphere on the end. So there are just no references. I went through the whole catalog of preserved Western European scrolls, and I have only found one example with crowns. So probably they did their research. They couldn't find anything but Torah scrolls, and that's what we basically got.
But I also think like that's a great moment to just run wild with imagination, because that's like a point, and that's also why I said at the beginning that it's exciting to see a show where so much scrolls are present, which usually isn't the case. So there you could be, I guess, rather inventive to a degree as it fits the setting, because we don't have much present in our world and in other media. So I think that's a pretty neat job they did there.
That was certainly the most bookish space they showed, and I was properly impressed. Yeah, very atmospheric.
And I'm glad we were able to discuss it, because probably Friedrich will have to go in a moment. Just tell us, how much time do you have? Because it's almost 8 in Central Europe.
I will make some more time, because I really want to talk about the writing that was present
in the 4th episode, because
I have some wiggle room.
We went through the first 3 episodes, and it's already an hour. We scheduled 40 minutes for that, so please stay with us. There was another comment from Mindel, I guess, that Mindel Dubansky, that the longer scrolls remind Torah scrolls, and that's also what we thought and what we discussed when we were preparing for this live stream. Also with Pavel, Pavel had also some. Pavel already told something about Torah scrolls and about the end pieces of Torah scrolls. Anything to add, or? That's fine.
I'll show a few more images after we're finished with this.
Okay, and also Jocelyn Bergen wrote that yarn shops often stores skeins of yarn in diamond-shaped shells. Interesting.
I'm going for the wine racks.
Wow. Okay, so what do we have next? And that location was definitely beautiful, and they work quite well. I remember that when I was watching Game of Thrones, and there was several episodes that happened in Tyrion's room in the Red Keep, and he had a huge library there. And one of the books was something about hunting in England or something like that. Well, that's out of place. It had a nice spine, but and I think prop designers didn't think it will get in, or anybody would check the library frame
But
by
we
frame
do.
like me. But yeah, it was a fine finding there. What do we have here? So yeah, more scrolls, and then here's another folder that this librarian or archivist brings to Galadriel and Elendil. Yeah, Elendil. I'm not wrong now. I hope. And you can see over here there are some straps on the cover or something, and they just take away an object from there, and it's that same symbol, some more writing there, and if you have a couple of words to say about this writing, and Friedrich, and we'll move forwards.
Yeah, so in this case, I'm not sure if this, for example, is paper. This looks like it was written on the backside, like of some fur, almost.
Yeah.
Which is like maybe the only piece of writing that might not be on paper.
Which fits the the concept. When you are Sauron, you just rip an orc apart and take some hide and write something on your orc.
Yeah, and so with this writing, that's like said in the show that it's like probably in the like, I don't know how they say, like maybe dark tongue or dark language, like basically the orcish language, but written in the style similar to the writing on the One Ring. That's like basically the same calligraphic style used there. But also the people that really got into the stuff that I mentioned before, they couldn't really decipher it because like it's dark ink on like a dark surface, so there's not much contrast, and the lighting in the show isn't the best.
Yeah,
so
definitely
hard to read and even harder to decipher.
But anyway, fun things to explore. Well, not maybe fun, maybe a bit gruesome, but still interesting. And this is, I just wanted to go fast through this moment, and this is Elendil's daughter. Her name is Earian, and he's a original character that appears only in this series, and she has some sort of a letter there, and we can see there is some script there. It doesn't really seem. I don't think it
looks gothic.
It looks gothic to me. Yeah, I don't.
It looks like Factur.
But I think this might be also a piece written in the style that we will see later. It's like basically the current Numenorian writing style.
So they did their work.
Yeah, they did their work.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely is. I can see some letters, but I also think it's heavily inspired by like basically German writing, like Fraktur, German black letter writing.
That's nice. Thank you, Friedrich. I didn't show this reversed turned upside down screenshot to Friedrich before.
I didn't. I didn't see this before, but it's great seeing this because like you have different hierarchies of writing in there, like maybe even something that looks like a little bit cursive.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
A couple of signatures on the bottom.
Yeah, and a couple of signatures.
And it's also the only time, at least for now, when we see a wax seal on a letter or on a scroll or something in the series. At least in the first 4 episodes, I haven't seen the 5th episode yet, but that's also something that's interesting to mention. And we've spent some time searching for different wax seals in the Game of Thrones series several years ago, and there were some nice, interesting sigils there stamped into bug seals, and sometimes these bug seals were absolutely non-functional. I mean, they were placed on a rope that was turned around the scroll, and you can just remove the rope and read the scroll. So yeah, sometimes they prop designers slack a bit. This happens as well. Not here, not in this show, at least not yet. So what's next? And then this is scene of Galadriel with Halbrand, whom we don't know yet who is really. Is he hiding something? And there are some also something that this time it's something that looks like leather, because there are this pattern of dots on the surface.
You think so? I also thought that's paper.
Oh, maybe it's paper. Yeah, maybe it's just something like
it's paper.
Yeah,
and
it's textured
again,
paper. Yeah,
see
yeah.
those lines
Okay.
of a handmade paper, and also I can see the word war on top of it.
It looks like it, but it's not. It maybe it's like a given name or so. It's pretty hard to, because that's also in part a writing system developed for the show. In my estimation, it has some basis in the before mentioned Tengra script. So like the Elvish writing system, but also the later, which we could get a first glimpse at on the like letter of approval, or what it was called, that the daughter had. Here we have like maybe a proto version of it still in combination with the writing system Tenghua. And someone also mentioned that even some Kurth elements are in it, so like these dwarven runes, but I couldn't find anything like that myself. But I don't know, will you show like the overview that I made over the...
Oh yeah. Just give me a moment. I think I should have placed it somewhere.
Maybe after the
yeah.
After that, do you have like still the
not this one, another image?
Well, there's like this scroll which can be seen at the end of
this one.
Yeah, this one, because that's basically the contemporary or the modern Numenorian writing style. And one user and TikToker made a transcription of this. This is English written in this writing system. It's basically the exact same thing that is being said in the show at this point. So I don't have to go into what is written there. That's for you to find out when you watch the show. But from the sounds given to the letters and the letters present in the Tenghua alphabet and which I call Southland Scroll, which was the scroll we saw before with the symbol on top. I tried to make like trace the development of the letters, which was the image that we saw before. Can you change to that?
So sorry, I phased out for a moment because I was looking to change to what?
No, the previous one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
this
one.
Yeah.
And to me, this was like when I saw like the transcribed version of the Numenorian alphabet, I was kind of bummed out because we can see that not every single letter really traces to the most modern form. And I think I had high hopes for it being the case. Like in some cases, like with the K sound, we can see like maybe that's there. Or like with the M, like from the first letter, which is the Tengra alphabet, then we have like this, what you, Pavel, read as a W. like in the war thing, and then in the Numenorian alphabet it becomes like almost like an A shape or an alpha shape, like really reduced, which might be a thing that happened. And underneath that to the left, I think this is a case where, okay, that could be a development from like the P sound to the version present in the Southland scroll, and then in the modern Numenorian writing. But other than that, it's not really present, which could be explained within the lore. But that's like, I'm a little bit disappointed because I had high hopes for that to be the case. It would be great to see like, oh yeah, that's how writing develops. And because like also Tolkien put like the sound changes in developing his languages. So that would be a great way, I think, to emulate this within the show and give like some space to this lesser known or maybe not always present aspect of Tolkien's work present in a writing system. So I think
Well, we'll see.
the calligraphy still is really gorgeous, and especially on the like this decree that we saw before that. And I'm still excited to see whatever comes in shape of writing or scrolls within the show, because other than like this small detail that I would have loved to see, still the prop department did a great work on the show. And I think I leave you two now.
Yeah.
I have to be somewhere else. But
Okay.
nice for having. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for
And
being with us,
thank
and thank you for your work. And I hope our viewers also liked what we showed them. And yeah, bye. And now we will switch to other topics, I guess.
bye. Have a great
I
one.
would still like to discuss those bookshelves. Can I? I have a few images to show.
Let me see what I can do with screens and stuff. So you wanted to talk about bookshelves?
Yeah, I wanted to. I went down the rabbit hole of where I could possibly have gotten it, and just wanted to show you that there's no chance it's based in reality.
So should I move back to some shelves?
Can I show?
Yeah, sure.
Can I share the screen?
Yeah.
Like, just replace you.
Yeah. I think it should work.
But you need to stop first.
Okay.
Okay. And here we go. So again, we have these wine racks. So my theory is that the only place they could have gotten it from was other computer games, computer renderings, because it's the only place. This is a typical example. Whenever you get scrolls in fantasy or strategy games, you see them stored.
Pavel, you are out of focus once again.
Once again, I can't do anything about that. Can I?
Okay, next time.
I don't know how it happened. So the earliest I could trace that in pre-computer games era was this illustration that pops up all over the net whenever they discuss Library of Alexandria. And it is probably from the 80s, maybe the 90s, no later than that. Still, I want to be in focus. Why am I not? Well, okay. And,
maybe you need to switch off the camera and turn it on back, but probably not now, because everything will
not now. Yeah, I know. So probably somebody in late 90s, when all these elaborate wine racks with scrolls begin to appear in computer games, saw this book about Alexandrian library, and decided that this is how you store your scrolls. Now, it is most definitely not. Because we don't have any remains of the great Alexandrian library itself, but we do have some storage facilities in the tunnels of the Serapeum library. It was a sister library to the Alexandria library just across the square, and it was a small library connected to a temple of god Serapius, thus the Serapeum part. And this is how the scrolls were stored in rectangular niches. Here are some more. And you just put them one over the other. How we know? Well, there is actually one other piece of evidence, or to be more precise, there was a relief, a low carved relief in Germany. It no longer survives, but there is a depiction of it in an 17th century book, so very early antiquarian book, and you can clearly see how scrolls were stored in the Roman world. You can see the shelves, you can see the scrolls, you can even see the slips on the ends. That's where the names of the scrolls would have been written. Based on all that, the library itself would have probably looked something like this 19th century depiction. So shelves upon shelves, and on them in a honeycomb manner, just like in this depiction. And actually, this is the shape that cylinders take by themselves. So this is probably how they were stored.
Mm-hmm.
Just to mention a few more potential sources. Where
just let me read a couple of comments and we'll move forward, because they're related to this topic. And Minel Dubansky once again posted a comment. You made me think of Megillat Esther, this was Bible.
Oh, no, we didn't. I'm still trying to focus.
No way. It's Megillat Esther is a Jewish scroll, and Mindel writes, I always seen it with handles and usually a protective case in a small format, often very decorated. The English European tournament scrolls I've seen don't have handles. Not sure how far back they go in time. Yeah, thank you, Mindel. And then also Journal of My Life in the TV series The Last Kingdom, King Albert's scrolls are stored in the wine rack style. Here is something.
Okay, we should check that out.
Interesting.
And suddenly I'm in focus, I think.
Yeah, you are. you had to rub your eyes.
Okay,
that worked.
Okay, I'll do that. So a few more potential sources. One more potential source. We don't have it yet, but as you probably know, a famous library of scrolls was found in Herculaneum in a villa called the Villa of the Papyri. When unrolled, and they were completely burned, they looked something like this, and unrolled, they look like this. You can see it's a scroll and it's in the process of being scanned, just another attempt to somehow read it without unrolling. But we didn't find them on bookshelves. They were found in boxes that were being in the process of being evacuated. And just when they were hauling those boxes down the corridor, the final chapter of the disaster struck, and this is where we found them. The villa itself hasn't been fully excavated, not even remotely so. We have like 15% of it, so there is still a chance that we'll find more boxes of scrolls, and maybe more interestingly, the bookshelves. So there is still a chance for us to find out how in Herculaneum and Pompeii they were stored. So that
would be nice.
That would be nice. There's still chance, and there are talks about excavating it, because although for the last decade or so, maybe even 3 decades, there was a ban on new excavations because everything that's been excavated so far is deteriorating before our eyes. In this case, there is some chance because some groundwater started penetrating this part of town, and the chance of finding more scrolls seems to be important enough for some emergency excavations to start in near future. So that was about the ancient libraries. So we know ancients certainly didn't store them in rhombuses. Let's look at a few examples at how nowadays scrolls are stored.
I also wanted to say that when we switch to this Transylvanian find, please do not switch off screen sharing, because I turned off my second computer and I cannot show the images, so you'll have to show the images.
Okay, you'll have to send me some links. Okay. So most examples are like that. This is a library in Mainz. And so when you have a few scrolls, like most libraries do, you just store them on one shelf. And you can see they are not rolling anywhere, by the way. Why would they roll? They just lie there. Then one of the best examples I could find was the Westminster Synagogue, which in early 60s, I think it was, bought a big collection of scrolls from the Jewish community of Prague. And they now have lots and lots and lots of them. And even when they when they store them en masse, this is how they do it. You see, these are all, or almost all, Torah scrolls. And they don't stack them, which, when you think about it, yes, when you have a really massive scroll made of, not of paper, made of vellum, they could possibly damage each other.
Well, even made of paper can be quite heavy, especially if it's a long scroll. If it's a heavyweight paper, thick paper, and well, anyway.
And how did I get here? So, I want to show you more pictures. Why can't I? Okay, more pictures from the same place, and you can see the crowns that they use. They are mostly simple wood-turned ones. I highly recommend their website, by the way. Very detailed, and they write about the technique of production of Torah scrolls, about the meditative state and the ritual purity that the scribe must be in, etc. And here are a few more photographs from there. As you can see, it's shelves and shelves and shelves, and very simple crowns. In this, at least the community of Prague in 19th century was clearly using this one style. Yeah, and then there is the example.
How do you get to gallery of the synagogue?
Westminster Synagogue, couldn't tell.
Yeah. Okay. I'll post the link to synagogue, and then if somebody wants, they'll find a way.
Then they'll find it. Yeah. So there is here is an example from the British Library. They have lots and lots of scrolls, and they also store them on shelves, but they also as you can see, they have this system for separating scrolls. And if you look on the upper shelves, you can see that you can insert walls wherever you want.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have a similar storage system for your bookbinding stuff and for 3D printing. This is an interesting idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the daddy of all modern scroll archives, the Parliamentary Archives of UK. They have almost every law of the last 800 years in there, ranging from scrolls this big, giving somebody a right to divorce in 19th century, and all the way to budgets. Those biggest ones are budgets. And they by the way, they no longer do it, unfortunately.
They stopped a couple of years ago.
Yeah. But I like how they store them. This is again very similar. Let me get back to the antique example. Here we have rectangular shelves, scrolls one atop another, and labels at the front. And here, this basically the same thing. So 2000 years later, they came up with the same storage idea. So
I'll post this one as well.
No wine racks, rectangular shelves, lots of scrolls.
But then,
that's what I wanted.
Interestingly, technically, to make rectangular shelves and rhomboid shelves, it's almost the same job from the perspective of a woodworker. Well, obviously, when you turn rectangular shelves 45 degrees, they become rhomboid shelves. You still need to flatten the bottom part, but you can do that. So why didn't they use this shape? I don't know. And then there is more support to the scroll, because when it lies on a flat surface, it's supported only at one point, at one line. And if it's lying in a rhomboid shaped shelf, it's supported on two sides. So I guess it should be better for the scroll.
But you also get an angle, don't you?
I don't think it should be a problem. So anyway, here is how we switched from fictional history and fictional bookbinding to real history and real scrolls, and I hope everybody will like it. Should we go through this Transylvanian? We announced it, so we cannot not go through
it. I need a link though.
I sent it to Telegram to your account. Yeah, it's a Facebook post with a lot of photos. So it's a post made by library in Alba Iulia. It's a city in Transylvania, located near the place where this find was made. And so we wrote a bit in the announcement. The collection of books and manuscripts was found by professor, I think he's Professor Adinal Dinka, and his students while they were working on a project to finding libraries and books in different churches in this part of Romania. And there are over 140 books found there. Some of them probably early printed books in Canavula. Lots of fragments, including some fragments that may be dated probably dated to the 9th century. So 1,000 years old, or maybe even more fragments. Fragments.
9th century in Romania.
Yeah, well, fragments. They may have been traveling from other places, and also lots of manuscripts dating from the 14th to 16th century, I think, something like that. And yeah,
how can you forget about something like that?
Some of the manuscripts were are found as parts of bindings, which happens from time to time. You will see some covers if you scroll forward or click forward. How to browse forward? I don't know. If you go forward, you'll find some covers that so it's a not songbooks. What the proper name? So it's a choral works for singing.
These are antiphonary.
Yeah, and probably these are just they are maybe so the covers may be not corresponding to what's inside. So it may be just covers reused vellum or something like that were used for later bindings, because obviously some material is lost here. You can see because it's when it's folded, the notation is obscured and you cannot read it anyway. But what's really important about this, well, it's a great find. It's a treasure and a lot of things to research. What's another thing important about this find is that there are many original bindings there. We discussed this quite a lot in our podcast before and our live streams as well. That oftentimes books that came through the ages and were stored in libraries for or used for many years, especially liturgical books, religious books, they were rebound many times because they were functional objects. And Gothic and Carolingian bindings many of them are lost because books were rebound sometimes many times. Some of the books were rebound in 19th century when modern considerations about conservation and keeping the history of bindings weren't there yet. In some places until the middle of the 20th century, people didn't think about cataloging and keeping the old bindings because the contents of the books always considered to be more important than the binding itself. And even now, when you check the digitized archives of many libraries, you see the insides, but there is almost no information about the bindings. And that makes me just really mad because when I look for the books, the first thing I'm searching for is the bindings, structures, end bands, cover decoration, all that stuff. Obviously, it's a niche interest, niche things to search for, but well, you're cataloging a book anyway. Just do a little bit more work, and there's so much more to research there. Sorry for this rant. Anyway, so now there is a nice corpus for researching the original bindings from 14th, 15th centuries, which is just amazing. And as it appears, the bindings were, I think they were located in a tower, and just a moment. I have this. Yeah, so it was
Romanian.
It was located in a tower that just didn't have an easy access. So it was always there, always near. It isn't like a treasure that was dug out following a map with a cross on it or something like that. It was stored in a tower that was accessible. Just you had to sort of squeeze or something. So it wasn't a place everybody went over to all the time.
And do they have any version as to when everybody forgot it was there? Why was it just stored there, or was it hidden from some kind of religious war?
So the first idea was that the books were stored before the war, before the first World War or the Second World War, to just keep these books safe. But then so I saw a comment by the main researcher, Adinel Dinka, and he told that probably that's not the case, because the way these books were stored. So we have a comment on Facebook. Uchenikul Dani added some details in the church tower of the city of Mediash. Sorry, I dived in and forgot to mention where exactly that was found. Church in town of Mediash, in Transylvania, in Romania. So the way these books were stored in this hidden location sort of hints that they weren't placed there in a hurry. They were rubricated, or how you call it. They were placed according to topics, pretty neatly, and that's sort of that makes the researchers guess that probably it was placed there not in a hurry, for storage reasons. And one of the ideas is that it was a part of the larger library that was in the collection of Mediash, of this church, something like 7,000 volumes or something, including once again early printed books, mostly obviously religious books, some books from Reformation, books of I'm blanking.
Like
Protestant books. Works of Calvin or something like that. And let me check. I have some more reference material here. And just give me a moment. Pavel, save me. Talk a bit.
What else is known about that? So you're saying it belonged to this particular church, but 7,000 volumes is a bit much for a church. Was it a bishop's library?
So here is a comment about the contents of the books from the researchers. I found many Bibles in Greek, Hebrew, and Latin. It seems that this Lutheran gymnasium in Mediash from the 16th century was a very important biblical library, and also there were some scholarly books or school books for study, for religious study. Here it is. What's about the size? Well, I guess this also answers the question about the size of the library, because if it was a studying place, there easily may be more books and manuscripts as well.
Did you say you read comments from the main researcher? So he's on Facebook.
Yeah, I wanted to. Did you find him on Facebook? Because I didn't find him.
Is he on Facebook? You found him on Facebook?
No, I didn't find him on Facebook.
Oh, so those were press comments. I thought those were comments.
No. I'll post the link to a couple of articles. Just give me a moment, please. If you just can browse through the photos for a moment there.
And this is northern Romania, right?
Well, northwestern. So
Northwestern.
if
I wonder
if you remember how Romania looks like on the map, it's almost like a fish-like shape, where the top left part is separated by the Carpathian Mountains, and this top left part, northwestern part, is Transylvania, which is the Hungarian part of Romania, and so that's where it's located. And if you go there, you can definitely see a lot of influence, a lot of Austrian and German influence in the architecture, in the style of churches and type of churches, because there are many more Protestant churches there.
Speaking of going there, this is what I'm thinking about. Could I go there and see these books, or are they now hidden somewhere in the archives being worked on?
That was among some of the answers that the researchers have given to the press. Yeah, there was a lot of interest to these books, and as far as I understand, they moved these books to another secure location so that they wouldn't be disturbed, and that the research can be done without any interference from the press or interested amateurs. Yeah, exactly, like us. So
it's just I keep looking at these Renaissance style or Renaissance period bindings that are fully complete. Okay, they have been bashed about, but it would be so cool to see them.
So Jennifer Uthoff, this has been very interesting. I hate that I have to leave, but thank you so much. Thank you, Jennifer, for staying with us. And it will be, the recording will be published, so you can see the rest later. And if you can read another comment from Uchenikov Dani about the manuscript projects, I will browse through the reference material I had, because I wanted to quote something else. Do you see a comment on Facebook?
No,
you don't see comments on
the
Facebook?
Books. No, the last one that I can see is the books are at the library in Alba Iulia and will be exhibited in 2024 at Medias. So
Medias. There is sh at the end.
Medias, and I'm still showing us. This is strange. Should I stop sharing?
Yeah, just stop sharing.
Okay.
Why did you do this? Why did you? It was nice. There was some nice picture, and now you are even larger and once again unfocused. So maybe it's better now. Okay. And, anyway,
Alba Iulia is also a town in Romania, I assume. Sounds like an ancient Roman city.
Also in Transylvania, and in I think it's in Alba Iulia. There is this huge fortress there. Just absolutely insanely large fortress. One of the largest fortresses, I think, in the region, or something like that, and quite old. I've been there, but I'm not sure. So there was this comment as well. There was another project about pieces of manuscripts, about how they circulated. More information here. So there is a link in the comments about that. If you're interested, just go to our Facebook recording of the stream, and there will be this comment. When the project will be finished, at least that's what the press says. Thank you, Dani. You are helping a lot today, and you're prepared much better than we are.
Yourself?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm prepared better that I could, but I had reserved an hour and a half at the end of my working day to do some final preparations, and then I had to do something else at that moment. So anyway, I think we've quoted most of the things I wanted to say about this find. I posted some links. I also wanted to post a link to the interview, and let me find it here in the moment, because I think it's also, it's in Romanian, but as usual you can always use automatic translation. It works pretty well. Yeah, I'll post a couple of links, and then we will be, I guess, ready to. Where is it? Oh, here it is. There is a part of interview at the end of this article. So here you are, and yeah, there are no
we'll
more
be
questions.
keeping an eye on the story, because that's really interesting. I really want to see this collection.
And it would be nice to visit the place in 2024, or when they're ready to show us. So I guess that's it for today. It was more than 90 minutes, our usual format, but it took a bit longer to go. Well, it's like we almost if we went through the Rings of Power in 40 minutes as we planned initially, we would be fine with our timing. But oh well, next time we'll plan a bit better. I hope everybody liked our talk today. Once again, if you have any recommendations on which movies or series to discuss, or to be more precise, which bookish objects from which series and movies to discuss in the future episodes of our live streams and podcasts, please send us a message on Facebook, or I don't know, comment on YouTube below this video. Check the links in the description. Our Discord channel, there are some people there, and some are asking questions, and others are trying to help the colleagues, bookbinders, and please check our Patreon, because, well, obviously money coming from Patreon are crucial for us to cover for some of the expenses, for example, research expenses or something like that. And Danny also comments, I will let you know when they will be exhibited. I'm also interested. Thanks a lot. Just I don't know, send a message to iBookBinding or to me directly to find me on Facebook, Stepan Chizhov, if are not connected yet. Anyway, and see you next time. Thank you, Pavel. Thanks to Friedrich for his work this time, and we'll return next week with another guest, and we'll be talking about the Industrial Museum in Ghent. And
I've been waiting for this.
Yeah, next week we have already talked about it, but it was a bit